Contact your representative or the nearest mirror.
Discrimination. It's an ugly thing.
Meeting and surpassing all audience expectations every day. Rush Limbaugh serving humanity. Now documented to be almost always right, 99.7% of the time. Here's the entire Romney bite. In context, Neil Armstrong, and when you need somebody to do the big stuff, you need an American. Here's that whole bite.
The soles of Neil Armstrong's boots on the moon made permanent impressions on our souls. Ann and I watched those steps together on her parents' sofa. Like all Americans, we went to bed that night knowing we lived in the greatest country in the history of the world.
That is so true. That is
God bless Neil Armstrong. Tonight, that American flag is still there on the moon. And I don't doubt for a second that Neil Armstrong's spirit is still with us. That unique blend of optimism, humility, and the utter confidence that when the world needs someone to do the really big stuff, you need an American.
right on. Right on. Exactly. Now, I hear, ladies and gentlemen, many people. We're going to move on, Mike, to soundbite. Let's see. 27:28 right now. I hear many people asking, what does Tom Brokaw think? He's the dean of NBC News. He's the crazy aunt, uncle in the attic now. Tom Brokaw is the slobbering granddad up in the bedroom in the attic. He's the dean. What does he think of what has become of NBC News and MSNBC? And, of course, the question is, based in a belief that Brokaw would have to be profoundly embarrassed at what has happened to this network and this news division, that it's reached the gutter. It no longer even makes a pretense of journalism. And so if you are one of the people that wonder what Brokaw thinks of what has become of NBC, you have to hear this. Last night on NBC's coverage of the Republican convention, after Romney accepted the nomination, here is the first of two things that we have for you from Brokaw.
I happen to have spent some time covering his father, and he was a remarkable man of great integrity who fought within this party to make it more moderate and make it less extreme and to make it more inclusive. And the evolution of Mitt Romney, the son, has been to go from being a moderate to be much more conservative.
Oh, so Tom sounds like he's right at home with these people now. Yeah, I covered. I'll guarantee you, back in those days, they hated George Romney like they hated any other Republican back then. I remember George Romney. He fought hard, tried to make this party inclusive. And there again, we have more elected Hispanics than they do, and we're not an inclusive party. We've got female governors, Hispanic female governors, first ones ever. We're not inclusive. No. Okay, so there's that. Then you just heard celebration of Neil Armstrong from Mitt Romney. Here's Brokaw. He continued with his partial, I guess, reaction to that.
The other thing that was quite striking me tonight, the centerpiece of what's possible for this country was putting a man on the moon. There have been fewer, larger government projects than that. And it did spin off a lot of private enterprise, but it was an enormous public government investment that made that extraordinary achievement possible. And then, as I said earlier, it also spawned lots of scientific achievement across this country that was transferred to the private sector.
I hate to break it to Brokaw, but the private sector did everything. The Moon Project built everything. The government took the bids, awarded the winners with the project. But if you remember, Lockheed was all over everything. McDonnell Douglas made the Mercury capsule, like the Redstone rocket. I forget. McDonnell out of St. Louis. They were right there. So even the moon trip, oh yeah, government did that. And then government shared what it learned with the private sector. It's the other way around. So yeah, you didn't build that. So what do we have now? We have the specter. Compare and contrast. We have the media defending Obama's "you didn't build that" and attacking Romney for saying you need an American. And then Brokaw comes along and yeah, that private sector built that. Government did everything and then shared what it learned with the private sector. So for those of you wondering what happened to Brokaw, he's probably running the joint. He clearly isn't embarrassed by what it's become, in any way, shape, manner, or form. One of the takeaways from the Republican convention is the presence of conservative principles in this election. Last night's tribute to Ronaldus Magnus and the reaction from delegates only confirms that. Now, they might not have said the word conservative much this week, and they didn't utter the word Tea Party, but what made this convention come alive was the acknowledgement of what everybody knows is conservatism, the grassroots effort